A year ago, poet Boris Humenyuk sent one last message. For 24 hours, he and 2 Ukrainian soldiers were under relentless Russian fire. Shells rained down on the trenches outside the eastern city of Bakhmut. Down to the last bullet, Humenyuk said over a crackling radio. These were his last words. Humenyuk had volunteered to relieve a group of exhausted service personnel at Zero, the hottest part of the front line. He now explained that he was wounded in the shoulder and could not drag his injured comrade to safety. "We're stuck," he reported. By time an evacuation team reached the ditch in village of Klishchivka, Humenyuk had disappeared. There was no trace of him, said Serhiy Panchik, another poet and soldier. Panchik said he believed the Russians captured his friend using artillery fire as cover. They had overrun their company's forward position, sneaking through an open area with a few small, bare trees. "I believe Boris is alive. He is an intelligent and artistic man with an adventurous spirit," Panchik said. "The Russians do not take the bodies of their own soldiers. We never saw them take the bodies of dead Ukrainians. So Boris must be in a Russian prison." He admitted there was no evidence of this, as Moscow refused to publish the list of those it captured. Humenyuk was 57 years old when he disappeared on December 27, 2022. He had been fighting voluntarily since 2014, shortly after Russia began its covert takeover of the Donbas region. He rejoined the army last year and became deputy commander in charge of the machine gun unit. Humenyuk said in his last interview that he had been preparing for war with Russia all my life. "I don't expect to come back from this. If I do, it would be a miracle," he said. Serhiy Panchik displays a photo of herself with Boris Humenyuk amid the explosions. Humenyuk wrote poetry and regularly shared it on Facebook. Panchik said he wrote his own poem on his smartphone while taking a break from active duty. Winston scribbled a haiku on the back of his cigarette pack. "The first day you can't sleep. Your brain is whirring," he said. Panchik's 19th book of poetry is called The Lost Winter. He described Humenyuk as one of his country's best modern poets. Boris' work superficially resembles prose, but when you read it word by word, you realize that it is like a sacred text. Every poem is a mini-novel, he thought. Before last year's full-scale occupation, Humenyuk had published 2 collections from the trenches. One of them was called Poems from War, a poem that Panchik wrote on a cigarette pack while he was at the front. The experience of conflict changed Ukrainian poets and their use of language. It has the potential to become livelier, sharper, more poisonous, observed Chicago-based poet and translator Oksana Maksimchuk, writing in a new anthology of Ukrainian poetry called Words for War. In addition to Humenyuk, the book includes many works of other important writers, including novelist